They locked me in a nursing home on a Tuesday. My own daughter signed the papers, took my house keys, and told the staff I was confused and dangerous to myself. I wasn't confused. I was 68 years old, perfectly healthy, and the owner of a $1.2 million house in Seattle that my daughter desperately wanted. This is the story of how I escaped from Riverside Care Facility, exposed my daughter's elaborate fraud, and proved that being old doesn't mean being helpless. This is about forged documents, stolen property, and the aunt who risked everything to save me. My name is Helen Morrison. I'm 68 years old, and for 6 weeks, I was a prisoner. But let me start at the beginning, because you need to understand how a seemingly loving daughter can become a criminal, and how quickly your freedom can be stolen when someone wants what you have. I'm a widow. My husband Richard died 5 years ago from a sudden stroke. We'd been married 40 years. He was a software engineer at Microsoft in the early days, got in at the right time, made smart investments. When he died, he left me our house, fully paid off, worth over $1 million, plus enough in savings and investments that I never had to worry about money. I live simply, always have. Richard and I were never flashy people despite our wealth. I volunteer at the library, garden, take art classes at the community center. I'm healthy, active, independent. My doctor says I have the health markers of someone 20 years younger. My daughter Mary is my only child. She's 42, works in marketing, married to a man named Derek who's never held a job longer than 8 months. They have 2 kids, teenagers who barely know I exist because Mary rarely brings them around. Mary has always been difficult, even as a child. Entitled, manipulative, convinced the world owed her something. Richard and I tried our best, but she grew up to be exactly the kind of person we'd hoped she wouldn't be. After Richard died, Mary started visiting more often. I thought she was being caring. I thought grief had matured her. I was wrong. It started small. Subtle suggestions. "Mom, this house is so big for just you. Have you thought about downsizing?" "Mom, did you remember to pay your electric bill?" "No, that's the 3rd time this month." "Mom, you seem confused lately. Are you sure you're okay?" I wasn't confused. I had paid my electric bill. I had the bank statements to prove it. But Mary would insist I hadn't, would show me disconnection notices that I'd never seen before. Later, I'd realize she was intercepting my mail, hiding bills, then rescuing me from problems she'd created to make me seem incompetent. She convinced me to give her a key for emergencies. Then she started showing up unannounced, rearranging things, moving my belongings. "Mom, why is your medication in the kitchen? You're supposed to keep it in the bathroom." "I always keep it in the kitchen." "No, Mom, you're confused. It goes in the bathroom. See, I'm moving it for you." Gaslighting, that's what they call it, making someone doubt their own reality, and it's remarkably effective when done by someone you're supposed to trust. 6 months ago, Mary suggested I see a doctor, just to make sure everything's okay. She took me to a Dr. Patterson, a man I'd never met before, not my regular physician. The appointment was strange. Dr. Patterson asked me questions that seemed designed to make me look confused. "What year is it, Helen?" 2024. "And who's the president?" I answered correctly, of course, but he kept asking variations of the same questions, kept looking at Mary with concern, kept writing notes. At the end, he said, "Helen, I'm concerned about some memory issues. Nothing serious yet, but we should monitor this closely." Memory issues? I didn't have memory issues. I could tell you what I had for breakfast 3 days ago, could recite all my grandchildren's birthdays, could remember our old phone number from 30 years ago. But Mary seized on it. "See, Mom? The doctor's worried. Maybe we should think about getting you some help." "I don't need help." "Mom, I'm just concerned about your safety." 2 months ago, things escalated. I woke up one morning feeling strange, dizzy, confused, my thoughts sluggish. I'd slept terribly, had vivid nightmares. Mary showed up that afternoon. "Mom, you don't look good. Let me make you some tea." After the tea, I felt worse. So much worse that I don't really remember the rest of that day clearly. It's like watching a movie through fog. What I do know, from documents I found later, is that day, Mary took me to Dr. Patterson again. And this time, he diagnosed me with advancing dementia and signed documents saying I was no longer competent to care for myself. Those documents gave Mary power of attorney, full, unrestricted power of attorney over my finances, my property, my medical decisions, everything. I didn't sign anything. I never agreed to any of this. But there's my signature on the documents, clear as day. Forged, had to be, but proving it would come later. 3 weeks ago, everything came to a head. I woke up on a Tuesday morning to find Mary and Derek in my living room with 2 men I didn't know. "Mom, we need to talk." "What are you doing in my house?" "It's not just your house anymore, Mom, and we've made a decision for your safety. You're going to Riverside Care Facility. It's a lovely place, very comfortable. You'll be well taken care of." "I'm not going anywhere." That's when the 2 men came forward, orderlies from the facility. Large men, experienced in dealing with difficult patients. "Mrs. Morrison, we're here to help you transition." "I don't need help. Mary, what have you done?" "Mom, please don't make this harder. The doctors say you can't live alone anymore. It's for your own good." I tried to fight, I really did, but what can a 68-year-old woman do against 2 large men trained to restrain people? They were gentle but firm, speaking to me in those condescending tones people use with children and the elderly. Now, Mrs. Morrison, let's just calm down." "I am calm. I'm being kidnapped." They gave me an injection, just something to help you relax. The last thing I remember from my house was seeing Mary standing in my living room, holding my house keys, looking around like she was already measuring for new furniture. I woke up in a small room. Single bed, thin mattress, beige walls, 1 small window with bars. Not decorative bars, actual security bars. Riverside Care Facility. The first week was a nightmare. They kept me heavily medicated. Every time I protested, every time I said I didn't belong there, a nurse would appear with pills. "Time for your medication, Helen." "I don't take any medication." "Doctor's orders, dear. Now let's not be difficult." If I refused, they'd give me an injection. After a few days, I learned to pretend to take the pills, hide them under my tongue, spit them out later when no one was watching. That's how I started to think clearly again. The facility was understaffed and neglectful. Meals were often cold or spoiled. The staff was stretched thin, overworked, sometimes cruel. I watched them ignore call buttons for hours, saw them speak harshly to confused residents, witnessed medication errors. My roommate was a woman named Patricia, 82, genuine dementia. Her family never visited. She'd cry at night. "I want to go home." "Me too, Patricia. Me too." I called Mary once from the facility's common room phone. "Please come get me. I don't belong here." "Mom, the doctors say you need to stay there. It's for your own good." "What doctors? I haven't seen any doctors." "Mom, you're confused again. Dr. Patterson visits you regularly." "I've never seen Dr. Patterson here." "You don't remember because of your condition. That's exactly why you need to be there." Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Oh, and Mom, I've started packing up your house. There are interested buyers already. We should have it sold within a month." She was selling my house. While I was locked up, unable to stop her, she was selling my house. "You can't do that. It's my house." "Actually, with power of attorney, I can make these decisions for you. The money from the sale will go into a trust for your care. Don't worry, you'll be taken care of." A trust she controlled, money she could access. I saw the whole plan suddenly, crystal clear. Mary was going to sell my house, put me in this facility permanently, and slowly drain my assets while keeping me drugged and compliant. I have a sister. Abigail, 3 years older than me, lives in Portland. We'd been close our whole lives, but Mary had been screening my calls, intercepting mail, keeping her away. "Mom's not feeling well enough for visitors," Mary would tell her. But Abigail is stubborn and suspicious. When I didn't answer her calls for 3 weeks, didn't respond to emails, she got worried. She showed up at my house on a Wednesday, found it empty, mail tiling up, a for sale sign in the yard. She called Mary. "Where's your mother?" "She's in a care facility. She was becoming a danger to herself." "Which facility?" Mary tried to dodge, but Abigail pressed. Finally got the name, Riverside Care Facility. Abigail showed up that afternoon. The staff tried to turn her away. "I'm sorry, but Mrs. Morrison isn't accepting visitors today." "I'm her sister. I'm visiting." "Family has restricted her visitor list." "I am family. Her daughter doesn't have the authority to keep me out." She pushed past the desk, found me in the common room. I was sitting in a chair by the window, staring out at the parking lot, wearing clothes that weren't mine, looking thinner than I'd been in years. "Helen?" I turned, saw my sister, started crying. "Abby, oh God, Abby, you have to get me out of here." She sat beside me, took my hands. I told her everything as fast as I could, knowing we didn't have much time before staff intervened. The forged documents, the drugs, Mary selling the house, Dr. Patterson's fake diagnosis. "Helen, do you consent to being here?" "No, I never consented to any of this." "Then we're leaving, right now." She stood up, tried to walk me toward the door. 2 orderlies appeared. "Ma'am, you can't remove a resident without proper discharge papers." "She's not a prisoner. She's a voluntary resident who wants to leave." "She's under doctor's care for dementia." "She's standing right here, talking coherently." "Helen, do you want to leave?" "Yes." The orderlies moved to block us. Abigail pulled out her phone, started recording. "I'm documenting this. My sister, who is of sound mind, is being held against her will. That's false imprisonment. If you physically prevent us from leaving, I'm calling the police and a lawyer." The threat of legal action and a recording made them hesitate just long enough. Abigail grabbed my arm and we ran. Actually ran through that facility, my 71-year-old sister and me fleeing like fugitives. Out the front door, into her car, and away before anyone could stop us. I was free, but the real battle was just beginning. If you're on the edge of your seat right now, wait until you hear what Helen discovered about her daughter's fraud. The documents, the forgeries, the depth of Mary's betrayal, it was so much worse than Helen imagined. Hit like if you want to see how Helen fights back and exposes everything, because what comes next is absolutely devastating. Abigail took me to her house in Portland, fed me real food, let me sleep in a real bed without fear of forced medication. For the first time in weeks, I could think clearly. "We need to act fast," Abigail said. "Mary will realize you're gone. She'll come looking." "Let her come. I want to face her." "Not yet. First, we need evidence. We need to prove what she's done." Abigail had a friend, Janet, who was a lawyer specializing in elder abuse. We met with her the next day. I told her everything, showed her the forged power of attorney documents that Abigail had requested copies of from the facility. Janet examined them closely. "This signature doesn't match your actual signature. See here? The H is different. The loop in the L goes the wrong direction. Can we prove it's forged?" With a handwriting expert? Absolutely. But we need more. We need to prove Mary acted with intent to defraud, that she knew you were competent. Over the next week, we gathered evidence. I went to my real doctor, Dr. Sarah Chen, who I'd been seeing for 20 years. She examined me thoroughly. "Helen, there's nothing wrong with you cognitively. Your memory is excellent, your reasoning intact. Who diagnosed you with dementia?" "A Dr. Patterson. My daughter took me to him." Dr. Chen looked him up. This doctor, his license was suspended last year for signing false medical documents for cash. He's not even legally practicing right now. Mary had paid a disgraced doctor to diagnose me with a disease I didn't have. We got my real medical records, documented proof of my cognitive health spanning decades. We hired a handwriting expert who confirmed the power of attorney signature was forged. We got statements from neighbors who'd seen Mary entering my house repeatedly, taking items, meeting with real estate agents. We found the drugging evidence. Blood tests showed benzodiazepines and other sedatives in my system, medications I'd never been prescribed. Abigail had thought to have me tested right after the escape. We even found Mary's paper trail. She'd been sloppy, overconfident. Bank records showed her transferring money from my accounts to hers. She'd already moved $45,000 before I escaped. Janet built a case, not just for guardianship reversal, but criminal charges: fraud, forgery, theft, false imprisonment, elder abuse. Mary could go to prison for this, Janet said. Good. 10 days after my escape, we filed a lawsuit and criminal charges. Mary received the papers at my house, the house she was living in, having already moved her family into my home before it even sold. The court hearing was set for 2 weeks later. Emergency hearing to revoke the power of attorney and address the criminal charges. Mary showed up with her own lawyer, looking confident. She'd cleaned herself up, wore a respectable suit, played the role of concerned daughter perfectly. I sat with Abigail and Janet. Looked healthier than I had in months, clear-eyed, well-rested. The judge, a woman in her 60s named Judge Rodriguez, looked at both of us carefully. This is quite a serious set of allegations. Mrs. Morrison, you're claiming your daughter forged documents and institutionalized you illegally. Yes, Your Honor. That's absurd, Mary's lawyer interrupted. My client has documentation from a licensed physician. A physician whose license was suspended, Janet cut in. Dr. Patterson is not legally practicing. Any documents he signed are fraudulent. She presented Dr. Chen's evaluation, the cognitive tests showing I was completely competent, the medical records spanning 20 years. Your Honor, my client is a healthy, independent woman who was kidnapped and imprisoned by her daughter to steal her property. Mary's lawyer tried to spin it. Your Honor, Mrs. Morrison is clearly ill. She's paranoid, delusional. I have a question, Judge Rodriguez said. Mrs. Morrison, what is today's date? November 15th, 2024. Who is the current president? I answered correctly. Can you tell me what you had for breakfast this morning? Oatmeal with blueberries, coffee with cream, and a banana. And yesterday? Scrambled eggs and toast. The judge looked at Mary's lawyer. Your client claimed this woman has dementia? She seems remarkably sharp to me. Then Janet presented the handwriting analysis, the forged signatures, the bank records showing Mary's theft, the blood tests showing I'd been drugged. The evidence was overwhelming. Mary's face went from confident to pale to panicked as each piece of evidence was presented. Your Honor, I was only trying to help my mother. By forging her signature, by drugging her, by imprisoning her, Judge Rodriguez's voice was cold. She needed care. She needed care, or you needed her house. Silence. Based on the evidence presented, the judge said, I am immediately revoking the power of attorney granted to Mary Henderson. Furthermore, I am ordering Mrs. Morrison's full restoration of rights and control of her property, and I am referring this matter to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. She looked at Mary. Young lady, you're going to face criminal charges for what you've done. Elder abuse, fraud, forgery, theft, false imprisonment. You could be looking at significant prison time. Mary started crying. Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Yes, you did, I said quietly. You meant every bit of it. Mary was arrested that day, charged with 5 counts of fraud, 3 counts of forgery, theft, elder abuse, and false imprisonment. Derek, her husband, tried to claim he didn't know anything about it, but we found emails between them discussing the plan to sell my house and deal with Mom. He was charged as an accomplice. The criminal trial took 6 months. In that time, I moved back into my house. Mary had done some redecorating. I undid all of it. Every change she made, I erased. Abigail moved to Seattle to be closer to me. We're roommates now, 2 old sisters living together like we did as kids. It's actually wonderful. The trial was difficult. Having to testify against my own daughter, recount every detail of the abuse, the drugging, the imprisonment. Mary's defense tried to paint me as vindictive, claimed I was exaggerating, insisted she'd been trying to help. But the evidence was too strong. The forged documents, the disgraced doctor, the blood tests, the money transfers, the testimony from Riverside staff members who admitted residents were routinely over-medicated. That facility is under investigation now, by the way. My case opened a Pandora's box of abuse complaints. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, found Mary guilty on all counts. At sentencing, the judge was harsh. Miss Henderson, you targeted your own mother. You betrayed the most fundamental trust. You imprisoned her, drugged her, stole from her, and attempted to erase her autonomy. This court finds your actions reprehensible. Mary got 5 years in prison. Derek got 3 years as an accomplice. Both have restraining orders preventing them from contacting me for 10 years after release. My grandchildren, that's the hardest part. Mary's kids, now 15 and 17, are living with Derek's parents. They were told some version of the truth. The older one, Emma, reached out to me through Abigail. "Grandma Helen, I'm so sorry for what Mom did. I didn't know." I met with her. She's a good kid, not her mother's daughter in the ways that matter. We're slowly building a relationship. The younger one, Michael, isn't ready to talk to me yet. That's okay. He's been told his whole life that I'm senile and dangerous. It'll take time for him to understand the truth. I recovered most of my stolen money. Mary had already spent some of it, a new car, expensive furniture, but the rest was returned. People ask me how I'm doing now, if I'm angry, if I've forgiven Mary. I'm not angry anymore. Anger was useful when I needed the energy to fight back. Now I'm just sad. Sad that my daughter became someone capable of this. Sad that my grandchildren lost both their mother and their grandmother in different ways. Do I forgive her? No. What she did wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. It was calculated, sustained cruelty. She spent months planning how to steal my life. But I've let go of needing her to understand, to apologize, to change. She's living with the consequences of her choices. And I'm living my life, free, independent, healthy. If Helen's story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Share it with anyone who needs to hear that being old doesn't mean being helpless, that you can fight back against abuse, that justice is possible. In the comments, tell us, do you know someone who's experienced elder abuse? What warning signs should people watch for? Let's help each other protect our loved ones. I volunteer now with elder abuse prevention organizations. I speak to seniors about their rights, about the warning signs of financial exploitation, about how to protect themselves. Because what happened to me happens every day. Adult children taking advantage of aging parents. The difference is, many of those parents never escape, never get justice, never see their abusers punished. I was lucky. I had Abigail. I had access to good lawyers. I had evidence. But luck shouldn't be required for basic human rights. If you're an older person reading this, know your rights. Never sign documents you don't fully understand. Never give anyone power of attorney unless you absolutely trust them and have backup safeguards. Keep your important documents somewhere safe. Maintain relationships outside your immediate family. Have an Abigail, someone who'll notice if you disappear. And if you're someone's Abigail, if you have that feeling that something isn't right with your loved one's situation, trust your instincts. Push past the excuses. Show up. Ask hard questions. You might save someone's life, or at least their dignity. I'm Helen Morrison. I'm 68 years old. My daughter tried to steal my life. She failed. And if you're going through something similar, you can fight back too. You're not too old. You're not helpless. You have rights. Use them.